Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the big expectations for the Mario Galaxy movie and what should be the next big fighting game franchise to get revived. It's going to be a good one because we have Jason Fanelli on the show. It's a Fanelli fun day. Jason, how are you doing?
Every day is a Fanelli fun day in this
That's
house.
right.
I'm doing well. Coming off a excellent weekend. I was in a parade on Saturday. More importantly, my daughter was in a parade. So my theater group, St. Francis Players, this is
Celebrating the Ides of March. Yeah.
Little Mermaid. Yes. It was Saturday, technically, not okay. not Sunday, but yeah. So St. Patrick's Day parade for the town where the Catholic school that the theater group is in. So they always give us a place in the parade. This year we're doing Little Mermaid, obviously, and I have a flounder upstairs, so she got to get in costume, and she got to be in the back of the truck and wave at people, and I sat in the truck with the microphone saying, "Come see our show, buy our tickets." That whole thing. It was a lot of fun. They both my kids though apparently had too much fun because now we're dealing with fevers. They're both home from school today. But sounds like there's a little bit of a thing going around. If it stays this way for them, knock on wood, I think we'll be okay. How about you, bud? How are you?
Yeah. Things are going around. I was like dealing with being a little bit sick at the end of the week last week after GDC, and then over the weekend it hit me. Of course, it's like I waited for the weekend to really come through. Just a little bit of a flu thing, and I'm like feeling much better, but wiped out. Like it definitely took my energy and all that. Now I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good enough because I really want to go to Mike's house tonight and do the we're going to be doing our Lego party thing. Everyone should tune into that tonight. Mike and his brothers got that all set up. We're going to be testing out some new stuff that is in Lego Party, a new update, everyone. So just definitely check that out. I'm going to try to make my way over there, but we'll see how I'm feeling after all this. But yeah, I'm doing good now. I'm like doing much better and kind of ready to get into the week and see if we can't get things off to a good start. I also like did some painting even though I wasn't feeling good. I've been putting it off for so long. I started to feel guilty. So I like primed most of the bedroom, and now I'm like, I gotta find some time this week to finish actually put down the final color. We're going with a green. We're gonna put down kind of a foresty green. I'm looking forward to it.
Foresty green, not behind you, so you couldn't do
I'll make it close enough. I'll see what Kelly's doing and see if we can get some Go Birds in there. But yeah, that took a lot of energy as well. And my guy probably should not have doubled up on being sick and doing the painting.
But got to get it done. Got to do that. Got to do that housework, man. It's beauty of owning a house.
Exactly. It's like there's always a long list, and so at least I could check one thing off as I add 4 other things, of course. All right, let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We are a small team of internet video game doofuses who rely on your support. Go to giantbomb.com/join to give us that support. And it ensures we can keep doing what we're doing over here. We are primarily funded by y'all, and you all have been coming through and making it happen. And we are very grateful for everyone who has gone to giantbomb.com/join and become a premium member. If you haven't and you want to do that, it's going to get you ad-free versions of our shows. It's going to get you a lot of premium goodies, including This Is the Run. You don't want to miss the Irish Jeopardy one. It's going to get you Marry Me Tomodachi, Grub Snacks Premium, 9 lives of Mr. Mistopheles, and plenty more going forward. It's also worth it because you're going to feel good. You're going to feel good knowing that you're supporting independent games media. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. I said Jeopardy, yes, Millionaire. My brain always conflates those two. They're all game shows. They all look alike to me. What am I supposed to do? All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Mario Galaxy movie expecting a $160 million opening. I believe this came from Deadline. The heat on tracking is better than the 2023 movie, which did a 5-day of $204 million and a 3-day of $146.3 million. in what was the second best domestic opening ever for a movie over Easter after 2016's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Among all April in US/Canada openings, Super Mario Brothers was the fifth best in a month that will forever be dominated by 2019's Avengers Endgame. It won't be alarming if Super Mario Galaxy debuts to a more mushroom number than its first chapter, which received an A cinema score. Basically, they're kind of covering like what happened with the last movie and then the expectation for the new one. They did move this movie up. Like, it was going to come out April 3rd. Now it's coming out April 1st. So it's going to have a 5-day weekend. It sounds like this $160 million opening is for the 3-day weekend, and that's where the point of comparison is. But over the 5-day weekend, it could end up matching that $204 million number. That seems pretty likely. I won't be surprised if it comes in just under that, Jason. Like, it maybe not match the excitement of the first movie, because that was such a it did feel like a moment in time, and there was like hopes that it could be like really, really good. And I think people were like, no, that was fine. I don't know if I need to rush out to the theater to see it. Although that'll be a small percentage of the audience. So I still expect it to do very well, especially with families, right?
Yeah, and being on the Easter weekend once again and having those extra days off, I think will have a major effect on the matinees at the very least. I don't think that'll affect the nighttime viewings as much. But I think it might get close to that 204 million for the 5-day. The only outlier being Easter Sunday itself, right? Like how many people are going to the theater on Easter Sunday? They're having dinner with their families if they're celebrating Easter, so on and so forth. Granted, that's not the entire population. If you're not a Christian religion, you're not celebrating Easter
like
at
people
all.
see movies on Christmas, right? Like, so
right.
I would imagine that even a lot of that audience is still going to show up for this on that day. Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I'm with you that it might get like underneath it, but I think it'll still crack 200. Right. Yeah. I think we're talking about a difference of a couple of million, because it's the first sequel. I think there's a lot of people that have a major taste for it. They seem to be teasing a lot of potential surprises, which may pull some people in. We might even get a couple of multiple viewings if there is a big shock twist at the end. People want to see it again. I personally haven't bought my tickets yet, but I was planning for that first weekend, so they'll get at least $160 million and $30, whatever that equates to for me and my daughter. So yeah, this is exciting for them. I'm not surprised that it's going to have a huge first weekend. I'm also not surprised that it's tracking slightly better than it's the original movie's first weekend. But whether or not it makes that 204 remains to be seen.
Yeah, I'm planning to take the family as well. It's exciting. Yeah, I'm always looking for a good reason to go to the movies. I like going to the movies. But for Nintendo's point of view here, Jason, this has got to be like a big explanation for why they have sort of drawn out this Mario 40th anniversary thing that started last year. And we've gone through Mario Day now, and we're going up to the release of this movie. This is like one of their big marquee releases for the year. It's not a video game, but it's going to be a thing that makes them and their partners a lot of money. Do you think that there's any potential of them getting diluted, distracted from traditional video games, or is it all going to be supporting the video game business in the end?
I'm going to say not yet. I think this is the first movie. It's the sequel to Mario, but it's the first movie franchise they have. Should Zelda come out and be a critical and financial, I expect it to be a financial success, but a critical success as well, and that franchise starts to take off, then you might start to see a division of attention. But I think as long as Miyamoto is still there, still participating in any regard, it will always go back to the video games. That's where it started. That's where they cut their teeth, and that's where Mario became a household name. So there will always be a foundation there, which then begs the question, when is the next time we're going to see Mario in a Mario adventure? And I would have liked to think that it would have been announced somewhere in this 40th anniversary that's lasting more than a year celebration. But at this point, unless there's a direct coming between the launch of the film and, let's say, Summer Games Fest in June, unless there's a direct in there somewhere, maybe I'm being hasty. I don't know.
Let me ask you. Let's do a little bit of gaming it out here. If, let's say, you're Nintendo and you have both the movie and the video game ready to go, like both are fully ready to go, and you get the chance to optimally design how you sort of launch both of them side by side. Do you think that it does make more sense to ride this anniversary into the movie, and then once the movie's at its zenith, announce the game at that moment? I'm not saying that's what would happen, but would you do that if you had both things ready to go?
Yes, because I think there is less people to get approval from a game standpoint. When you're talking about a movie, you have to get Illumination involved, and Illumination has their own plans, and you sort of have to kind of compromise. With the game, you have full control, if you're Nintendo, as to when it comes out, when you're going to market it, things like that. So if they're both ready, you see where your partner wants to launch, and you work around that. So movie into game to try and create, as you said, the zenith of the movie and then the zenith of the game. That is a logical way to do it, because this is playing off of the past of Nintendo, Mario Galaxy, and your next game would be the future. But I don't know if they have one ready, because Bonanza was just last July. If it's the same studio, the internal studio that would make a new Mario game that did that, we don't know how far along they are. Is Bella Bell Park what they consider to be the game that they're pairing with the movie, even though it's just an extension of Mario Wonder? That Nintendo can be weird. That might be how they're thinking as well. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like the only question mark now with Mario is, when is that new core 3D adventure coming? And I don't know that we're going to get an answer anytime soon. Honestly, if I had to really guess, with Bonanza coming out last July and all this Mario stuff happening now, they may be trying to maybe push their focus to a Zelda, maybe not a brand new Zelda, but start that movie marketing cycle with some expansions or additions or things like that.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you that it's like you kind of ride the movie into the game, and then if that's something that they could do, maybe they would do that. I think at the very least, they are going to do exactly what you said and emphasize that they have all these other Mario games that people who went to see the movie can buy. Like, that is a big part of Nintendo's business, is selling games that have been on the shelves for years, and games that we've moved past because we're all very engaged and we're picking them up in day one, if not, and if not day one, year one. At the usually at the very least, because we know those games aren't going to go on sale or something like that. So we just pick them up when we're ready. There is a big audience Nintendo is trying to play to that is, jumping on board the Switch 2 because of Pokopia, and will then, and there'll be some overlap there with people excited about Nintendo stuff because of the movie, and they will be like, okay, I'm going to get a Switch 2. What do you have for me? And there will be quite a few of them. They'll be like, okay, I did not actually play Mario Wonder on Switch 1. Let's get that with the new content for Switch 2, because I'm very excited. And it's a 2D Mario, so it's very friendly to me. I don't have to try to figure out dual stick controls if that's something that's frightening to me, although at this point, most of the audience has probably played Fortnite or whatever, so that's less of a problem than it once was. Yep, movie is coming April 1st. I'll talk about it on this when I go to see it and see how I'm feeling. We'll do a little review or something. Okay, let's keep going here. A little bit more Nintendo news. Don't forget, there's 2 weeks left for free game chat, as afterwards you need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. This is from My Nintendo News. This is just a quick reminder that game chat will soon need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to work, as it was only free as an introductory offer from Nintendo. Game Chat will need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription from April 1st, weird, and won't work without one. Thankfully, a Nintendo Switch Online subscription is relatively cheap, and deals can be found at video game retailers. So yeah, this is going to work with what is still, I think, $20 a year Nintendo Switch Online sub, thing that you would need to play Mario Kart Online or Smash Brothers Online. The games that are maybe most likely, Mario Kart specifically, the game you're most likely to have to use game chat with, you're going to need it anyhow. So this doesn't seem like too much of a problem. I guess I wanted to ask you, Jason, how do you feel about game chat as one of those marquee launch features for the Switch 2 that they really made a big deal out of? They have a dedicated button for it. Did it live up to any of the hype or the promise?
Couldn't tell you. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
I've had the console since
I think
June.
that's probably a pretty common answer. Yeah.
I guess that's an answer within an answer, right? I didn't get a camera, right? I did not get a camera as one of my launch accessories, so I have not had the ability to check it out. It's probably neat, and the people who use it a lot probably love it. It seems like a really cool sort of FaceTime equivalent for the younger players, where the Switch is like the family console and they're connecting with cousins or with, you know, something, friends or something like that. But I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye. This is now bundled in with an online membership because, like you said, it's something you have to buy to play the games online anyway. It's just another layer on top of that. Now, if they went super weird and did like the base online tier and then online plus game chat tier, I think they'd be laughed out of the room. So
Yeah.
it's good that they're just kind of including it into the membership that you already have. But no, I don't think this moves the needle or makes an impact in the least. I think the only thing I remember about Game Chat was how goofy it looked in those first reveal trailers. That's the lasting impact it's had on me.
I really enjoy using it in the games that like take it one step further. So you know, like Mario Kart, obviously putting your face in the game, that was great. Because being able to see your friends' faces spin around when you hit them with the turtle shell, that's great. And then Mario Party did some fun stuff with it, and it was like part of that upgrade. I think I think you had to pay for the upgrade to use that, and there was the other side of that paid upgrade as well. But it's like I really enjoyed that as well because you want to see your friends' faces in the game as you are, like, you know, stealing their coins or stealing a star from them or whatever. It's really clever, and I think that they kind of had something pretty cool there. Is it something that I've used a lot since like those first couple of months? Not really. And usually that comes down to when it's a gimmick, when it's novel, you can kind of convince other people, like, let's get online and use game chat. Now it's like, let's just, you know, play this game like grown adults or whatever, and we don't have to set up all these cameras and stuff like that. That's kind of annoying. And I like, you know, you didn't buy a camera. The Switch 2 at least does work with a lot of different USB cameras, so that's friendly and not as locked down as Nintendo often can be. But I throw this in the bucket with just about every other launch feature for any console ever, where it's like, is it a video game that makes me want to buy the system? If not, I'm not going to care about it in 6 months. And honestly, in many cases, I'm not going to care about it in 6 weeks.
Sure.
It's going to be something that falls away very quickly. They have to like sort of emphasize these things to make the new device that you're spending a lot of money on feel cool and different. But we all, at this point, have been through this so many times. We know how it goes. Like, it's the same thing with the DualSense features. The DualSense is very cool and had a couple of games that really took advantage of it. And every once in a while, you'll get something to be like, okay, this does feel like it's worthy of all the effort put into this controller. But most games don't. The vast majority of games do not. And you kind of forget about it. And people still go, oh, Astrobot and one or two other things are really what you need to take advantage of that. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right. And that was one of those, hey, this is the reason to get a PlayStation 5. Like, that was how it was a position from Sony. So marketing and forced obsolescence of like, hey, you couldn't get this on the last thing, you can only get it here, and that's why you need to spend your money. We see through it at this point. So I do wonder, like, what Nintendo thinks they're necessarily going to get out of making this, you know, putting it behind a subscription, because I think they're just going to get the people who already have a subscription. So it's I guess maybe that just helps them bolster the value of that, make that feel better, so they can raise the price eventually. We'll see. What game would you like to see my face in if we were to play multiplayer games? So like when you hit me with something, you could see my face go and do the 5-star fun factor thing.
I don't say this because I wish to incite violence against one Jeff Grubb, but Smash Brothers would be very funny.
Oh yeah,
you know that would, like,
yes.
But if you get them like their stone face, you have them do like a stone face snapshot, a smiley face snapshot, and like a kind of snapshot.
That's like,
and whenever you hit the guy, you just see their face go as they're flying away. That could be fun.
That's turn us all into PNG tubers. Yeah, just like,
hey, there you go.
Take your mugshot when you start up a game, and that can be, it just like, it gets plastered as like a sticker or something when a certain attack happens. See, I like that kind of stuff.
At the victory screen, it can flash between like your stone face and your smile if you win the match. Just do back and forth, or like a little me, something dancing around with your face on it with the smile on. I don't know. There's ways to do it. But yeah, sure, that's fine. Other than that, though, yeah, I don't really see this catching on all that much.
Yeah, it's just that's the way. I mean, there are people I'm sure that were using it like when me and my friend across the country both got a Switch 2, and there was the whole idea of just hop into a game chat and you could share your gameplay, and yeah, the frame rate is garbage, but maybe your friend's playing another game, they can kind of glance at what you're playing. If anyone was doing that, I've not heard of it. And if you were doing it, and like that would be the scenario in which it's like maybe you don't have Nintendo Switch Online because you're playing a single player game and you're using game chat to talk to a friend across the country. At a certain point, it's like, do we pay the money, or do we just get on Discord? Do we just get on Discord with each other and talk that way, or use whatever, like literally just call each other? Like, what's the difference at a certain point? So, yeah, I just don't think that was a winning scenario that Nintendo was selling.
No.
There. Yeah.
No, also, real quick, great idea from Twitch chat about that face chat or game chat for your face punch out.
Yeah, punch out's a great idea. Yeah.
That would work well with that. Well done.
That'd be really neat. All right, let's take a break. Actually, we got plenty more to get into. We're going to talk about Bandai Namco's new fighting game after some messages. If you want to skip out on these messages, you can do that. Go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member, and there on the website you can find ad-free versions of this show in both video and audio formats. We will be right back. All right, we are back. It's Game Mess Mornings. That's Jason Fanelli. I'm Jeff Grubb. Let's go to Bandai Namco, reportedly developing a new fighting game. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. It appears Bandai Namco is working on a new fighting game. This shouldn't be too surprising to fans of the publisher or the fighting genre. Bandai Namco has worked on multiple major fighting games in the past, from Tekken to Soul Calibur, as well as plenty of anime tie-in fighters, covering hit shows like Dragon Ball's My Hero Academia, One Piece, and more. A recent job listing caught by MP First has fighting game fans speculating wildly, as Bandai Namco is hiring a game designer specifically for a new fighting game. Through the translated job description and responsibilities, we don't get too many details, but we do see that it'll involve 3D effects, sound effects, and stages, weird, as well as character customization, online lobbies, and some more expected features. Soul Calibur fans would love for this new game to be the highly anticipated next entry in the series. We recently had a supposed tease last autumn, and that turned out to be nothing. It's possible as well that this game isn't a Soul Calibur release, but another title we're not yet aware of. MP First notes that Bandai did a lot of work on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so a new Nintendo fighter could be on the way. Also, we could see another anime fighter, which is, Jason, where I would probably place my bet just to be a little safe here. Like, my first reaction to this story when I see this is new Soul Calibur. And then it's like, well, okay, Tekken's maybe still a ways away. But maybe this is when they start hiring for that, because they're not talking about announcing anything. I guess it could be work on a new Tekken as things change over there for that studio. And then it's like, honestly, they do like a couple of anime fighters a year, or at least every once in a while. So they'll have multiple of those. So it's just like the probability here is probably that this is an anime fighter. But I don't know. How do you feel?
I would love it to be a new Soul Calibur, but anything Soul Calibur from Bandai Namco will give me hesitance, because Okubo-san, who worked on the franchise within Namco for 25 years, is no longer there. He does Grand Blue now. Mm-hmm. So that would be the first Soul Calibur post Okubo, and that alone would be worth headlines, but also would give a lot of old school fans a bit of, I don't know, let's see how they do here. So yes, I am inclined to lean towards another anime fighter here. Now, whether that's going to be an anime arena fighter or a 2D fighter, that remains to be seen. It says 3D effects and stages and stuff like that. But if you think of Fighter Z, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, they were technically 3D models on a 2D plane. That was also Arc System Works. So I don't know if they're going to be involved with them again. I kind of like the idea that maybe they're finally starting to work on the Smash Ultimate Switch 2 edition. But I figure if that was happening, that was way in development already. Yeah. Now, I don't know enough about current anime to postulate on what anime that would be, but I believe that this is probably going to be another anime fighter of some kind. Perhaps maybe another Jump Force style where it's a bunch of anime mixed into one. They haven't, that Jump Force was what, 20?
It was a while ago.
20, a while ago, maybe later than that. I'm seeing a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen in the chat. JJK, that's a good idea. Chainsaw Man also comes to mind too, but I feel like that would be a little too mature for what Bandai Namco likes to do in their fighting games.
Yeah, they do the what was that Shonen Jump or whatever, they do those kinds of animes, right? And that's
Shonen.
That's not right. That's not Chainsaw Man, right? So
right. So this is Dragon Ball, My Hero, One Piece is what they normally do. So yeah, JJK makes sense. Maybe have they done a Naruto game in a while? Like I don't even know.
I don't know.
Anime's not my lane, so I'll make sure I stick to it. But stick to mine. But I do think this is going to be an anime fighting game, unfortunately, as much as I would love it to be a return to Soul Calibur, maybe even a rebooted style Soul Calibur. Not what they did with 5, where they just tried to put new characters in the old archetypes. Like, keep those characters, but have them doing something new, right? To start the new era of Soul Calibur. But I think that is that franchise is well and truly dormant for the foreseeable future. They could also throw us a curveball and make it an Ace Combat fighting game where all the F-16s fight like Hornet from Fighters Mega Mix. That would be fun. But no, anime fighting game is where I would lean.
Yeah, I think that's like I said, the safe bet. I'm with you on the reasoning there. But you know, the fighting game renaissance is among us. So like we are living through a time where like a lot of fighting games are coming back and doing very well, finding an audience. And I wonder how Bandai Namco looks at that, and they're like, well, you know, obviously we will keep making Tekken. We are still working on Tekken 8, doing new stuff there. But like, do we want to have another one? And I do wonder, like, because another one would not be an anime fighter. That is its own lane, separate from like you're into fighting games. You're not necessarily into anime. Like, yeah, the anime fighters are a separate lane for a separate audience. Do they want another one in the same lane that we're already in, where it's like, oh, we get Tekken from this company? Do they want to then like spend the resources on a Soul Calibur? I think they eventually will, but it's one where it's like I don't think they're going to have to rush to it because they have a game in this space, taking advantage of the excitement of fighting games in this moment. But yeah, I do wonder, like, when does that sort of flip and they're like, okay, it is time for Soul Calibur again. Do you have any like thoughts on like what it would take to get them excited to do that?
I don't. Especially now with Harada-san leaving too. Yeah. It would just need new blood. Like I think of Street Fighter 5 to Street Fighter 6 and the story of how the Street Fighter 6 original pitch was so bad that eventually it led to Ono-san, Yoshinori Ono, leaving Capcom, and then we get the current guys, and that was the right call, right? Street Fighter 6 it now is flourishing, especially with Alex coming this week, I believe, maybe even today. Alex, who is mocapped by Kenny Omega, hits. So that's doing well. Season 3 for Tekken 8 starts soon, or if it hasn't already started. And we don't know the guest character, so there could be another big news thing coming there. It would have to be, I think, something that would allow Soul Calibur to stand out on its own, because as much as I love Soul Calibur, there's a very reductionist argument that it's Tekken with weapons, and that's not...
No.
It's not entirely off base. I don't necessarily agree with it myself, but to the layman who doesn't know fighting games, sees them next to each other, I can see where that criticism is made. So I think it would need to be something, whether it be an art style, whether it be a real change to the weapon-based combat, something that would have Soul Calibur stick out enough that it could flourish as its own thing. Maybe you... somehow, like Yoshimitsu is in both, Heihachi was in both in Soul Calibur 2, and they did guest characters. Maybe that's it. Maybe you have like a Soul Calibur, and then you have a bunch of guest swordsmen in there, like Samurai Showdown invades Soul Calibur, or cool. Guilty Gear.
That would be awesome.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. That might be a way to just have that cross, the cross the crossover. Why couldn't I think of that goddamn word? Crossover appeal, and then those fans stick with Soul Calibur. They did Star Wars. Remember Soul Calibur 4 with Star Wars? How friggin' weird that was, but it was cool. Like, it was fun. Star Killer in that game was wild. Yoda was cheap as shit. That might be the way to go. Just lean into the crossovers to get people back into it.
Yeah, a couple things. Apparently, the Chainsaw Man is shonen. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I learn something new every day here from chat. Thank you for saving my life, chat. I appreciate that. And then, the Street Fighter. You talked about Street Fighter, like doing a bunch of stuff. They also announced Street Fighter 6 cross Mega Man, Star Force, and Battle Network. They're doing a collaboration. There,
costumes for the Avatars and World Tour. Cool.
Exactly. Cool. So they're constantly like sprucing up that game, keeping people interested. That is happening March 17th. So Jan, if you want to get on Street Fighter now, get your Battle Network stuff going, it's going to be there for you. Congratulations. All right, let's keep going here. As it passes 6 million sales, Capcom officially confirms Resident Evil Requiem is the series' fastest selling game. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Capcom has officially confirmed that Resident Evil Requiem is the fastest selling game in the series' history. In early March, the publisher announced that the game had sold 5 million copies in less than a week, attributing its hugely successful launch weekend to Requiem's worldwide acclaim. It stopped short, however, of officially declaring that Requiem's reaching of the 5 million milestone made it Resident Evil's biggest launch. Now, Capcom has announced that Resident Evil Requiem has passed 6 million in sales and has now officially confirmed that it is the fastest that a title in the series has reached this milestone. Noting that the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil is on my birthday, March 22nd, it added, Capcom is readying various plans for this anniversary to delight series fans, such as a collaboration between Universal Studios Japan and Resident Evil Requiem in 2026, and orchestral concerts in Japan, the U.S., and Europe. Capcom also reiterated plans to release more content for Requiem, stating, Resident Evil Requiem is the latest installment in the Resident Evil series, which offers blah, 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 blah. Players can enjoy the elevated essence of the survival horror experience by the interplay between the intense fear. Basically, they're just explaining the game. There's more stuff coming, is what they're getting at. Hey, we could tell this game was a pretty big hit. But it is the fastest selling Resident Evil game, a franchise that's been around a very long time, has had many very high highs, both in terms of critical acclaim and commercial success. And now it feels like they have hit the nail on the head in both of those realms with this game, and they're getting very, very rewarded for doing so. Resident Evil Requiem is a massive blockbuster, right?
Mm-hmm. 6 million sold. 6 million people can't be wrong, as the old adage goes. And they are making, they did announce extra story content deeper into the world of Requiem. They're hard to work on now, take some time. Story DLC obviously was coming. Came for 7, came for 8, come for now. But a person I follow on Blue Sky, the name, I don't remember who it was. I'll go back and find the post, made a great point. Think about when Resident Evil 6 launched, right? And how like the valley that was for people when it came to Resident Evil. The side games were not very good. The main game wasn't very good. The movies, I think, were starting to flounder at that point, or at least stay past their welcome. And now we have the highest selling game in the franchise, a game with near universal critical acclaim, still at a 90 on Open Critic last I checked, 89, 90, something like that. And people calling it the best marriage of both sides of Resident Evil that there has ever been. The tense, skin-crawling horror with the over-the-top action one-liners. Capcom is just firing, man. Yep. Every cylinder is firing. And then we may be talking about their success again a month from now when they launch a new IP. Right? Yeah. Like, it's wild to me how far we've come from on-disc DLC with Capcom. Then again, there was also the story that broke overnight that a certain country in the Middle East has bought more shares and is starting to get their fingers into Capcom. So that's all something we should keep a hesitant eye on. Yeah, but now
they bought 5% of Capcom shares. Yes.
No, the PIF already had 5%. This is the other one that also bought 5%. PGEC or whatever it is. So that, yeah, great, wonderful. So we have to all worry about, when Ronaldo's in Resident Evil 10. But for now, I am going to sit here and be glass half full about Capcom and their direction until I am forced to be otherwise.
Yep. I think the industry's at its best when we're getting good Resident Evil games, and Capcom is doing well, and they could sort of lay down the groundwork and a blueprint for other publishers to follow, because it's not like some mystery what they're doing. They are investing in their technology, they're investing in their best games, and then they're being a little bit experimental here or there with other franchises and other like spinoffs to give them a chance to start up a new thing that's just as popular as Resident Evil. And it's like, hey, maybe Pragmata is going to be that next thing. So we'll see. Slay the Spire 2 has already sold over 3 million copies. That's also doing very, very well. This is from Ben Lyons at Game Reactor. One of the biggest success stories of 2026 so far is, without question, Megacrit's Slay the Spire 2, as the indie sequel debuted into early access with one hell of a bang. It rather quickly became one of the most popular Steam games of all time, notching up a concurrent player peak that was well over 500,000 individuals. And naturally, this is a pretty useful tell that the game has been commercially successful already. To this end, in a recent blog post, it's revealed that Slay the Spire 2 has shipped as many as 3 million units so far. Following a little bit of quick math, based on the game selling for £20, means that the title has raked in nearly or around 60 million pounds for an indie studio, and an insanely admirable effort considering it is only in early access on PC at the moment. So yeah, that's like worth pointing out that it's a massive, massive hit, and it's just in early access on Steam. It has not had its mobile versions and its console versions and all that stuff happen yet. Yeah, man, this thing it just took over. I love the idea of 3 million people playing an early access game, and it sounds like the early access here for everyone who does get scared off by that, and I understand that, like, why some people do. If you're like, but man, people are playing it now, and I don't want to be left out, but I also hate playing early access games because I want to wait for it to be done. I would just look at this as it's done, and they're going to add more stuff later. That's how people are positioning this one or explaining it to me. It is even different from like a Hades 2, where it's like you would get to a point and be like, hey, we're going to put this stuff in later. It's actually missing. That's not the sense that people are having with this game so far. So, and you can tell it's not scaring many people off with 500,000 concurrents and 3 million copies sold. That's just astronomical stuff, right?
You love to see it. I don't know what to do with myself, Grubb. We're usually, really sad and talking about bad stories on this show, and that's
doing well here.
Million copy sellers. But there's something in the water. Something in the weather's changing. I'm not gonna go that far, but it is a beautiful thing to see a indie studio have a follow-up as successful or getting to be as successful as the original one that people fell in love with so long ago. 3 million people on early access. And again, it is early access in quotes, which does raise an interesting conversation about what qualifies as early access. Are they just calling it that and treating it as a full game length beta? Like, what are we bug testing?
So
are they figuring
the full
out?
Game isn't there. The way Mike was explaining it to me was that there are different like classes or characters that you could play the game as, and some of those just aren't there. But the whole idea is like you play through the game multiple times through using these different ones. So you right now just play with what's there, and then when they add the other stuff later, that gives you a reason to go back. So it does feel like an update, even though it is like this was always intended to eventually be in the game. And if you buy it now, at the price it's at right now, you get all that stuff. One of the things that often happens with early access is they will have an early access price, and then when it goes to 1.0, they'll raise the price. So it'll go up to like from £20 to £30 or $20 to $40 or something like that. And that could happen here, but you already bought the game. You're in. You helped fund it early, so you get a little bit of an advantage there. That's one of the things that often happens. So yeah, once the game gets more content, it could very easily get more expensive. And there's a reason people are rushing into this, because they have a lot of faith in this studio to be able to deliver on this game, and it sounds like they already have. I've not played it myself, although the hype is getting to me. I do want to check in on this, and it seems like it's something I could just throw on the Steam Deck and play on there and really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm distracted. It's apparently I'm coming to you from Silent Hill. It's very out of focus here. I'm not sure what the hell's going on. Let me see if I can See if
Cameras
that
are
works.
just bad. Yeah.
Cameras are bad. Nobody should use them. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I don't know what.
Yeah.
So sorry about
Like,
that, y'all.
cover it up with your hand completely, and like make it like, yeah, there you go, and then let go and see if it like locks in again. Nope, of course.
What is happening?
It's
What
all
is
right.
happening?
We could still make
Damn.
you out. All right, let's keep going here. More maybe good news. The Simpsons writer delivers hopeful message about a hit and run return. This is from Ben Lyons at Game Reactor. It was only at the end of February that Radical Entertainment returned under a rebranded likeness, sprouting hope that this could mean a return for one of the most beloved and iconic video games of all time, namely that of The Simpsons Hit and Run. To add further fuel to this hopeful fire, now one of the key writers on the long-running animated series has spoken out and claimed that a return of the game could actually happen. In an interview with People, writer Matt Selman has been asked about Hit and Run and if the game could ever return in some form. He replied with the hopeful answer of never say never, before then explaining a little more about the game and how it came to fruition all those years ago. Of course, it's so long ago, but I remember being in a meeting with whoever made it, and Grand Theft Auto 3 had just come out. And so we were like, this has to be the Simpsons version of that. You have to be able to get in and out of cars. They so did not want people to get in and out of cars. So that was a huge battle we had to fight on getting in and out of cars. We luckily won that battle because it is fun to get in and out of cars. Selman also explained that nothing is set in stone and that we know people love it. We know they want it. So that's good. Continuing to suggest that the timeless title could eventually return to entertain an entirely different audience to the one thrilled when it launched back in 2003. Much, much closer to the launch of the Simpsons television show than to now. That's crazy. Okay, so I would guess here that the most likely situation, Jason, is that we get a Simpsons Hit and Run remaster. Like that feels like something that is in the cards. There's been a lot of re-releases of classic games recently. There are a lot of studios and publishers that specialize in that. Radical Entertainment could handle all of that themselves, or they could work with one of these groups, and it could be a collection of Simpsons games, and this is one of them. Although I feel like this one could stand on its own with just a little bit of remastering, and they could easily sell it for $40 or even like $50. And as long as it runs well and has all that stuff and it is slightly upgraded visually, I think people will show up for that game. What do you think?
I do too, but I think there's a monkey's paw situation here. Yes, you'll get your Hit and Run remastered, but and as the finger curls, it'll only be in Fortnite on the map that we built. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That wouldn't bother me, but I know people that would have issues with that.
Well, I mean, just because it would go away, right? Like eventually, like I mean, if it's in Fortnite,
no, they would keep it. They would keep it as a separate mode, like how they have Fall Guys, how they have Rocket League, how they have like those separate games.
Okay,
but like
I can live with that.
There's no multiplayer aspect to it, so I don't know if they would want to do that because all those games are multiplayer.
That kind of makes some sense, just because Disney, which now owns The Simpsons, has a lot of money invested in Fortnite.
They were teasing some sort of UEFN creative tools or something that's just for Star Wars like this morning.
Yeah.
So they might have a lot of Disney related things coming down the pike, but don't quote me on that. That's probably harder to do than it sounds because there are specific locations that in Hit and Run, if I recall, that are not in the Fortnite map. So they'd have to rework it anyway. I'm probably talking out of my ass. I just know how the industry works now.
Right.
And I worry that these things might be what they decide to do. I think this is long overdue. And I think they realize it too. I heard it.
For sure.
I heard a story that like there was like maybe one or two people in the up and up somewhere in the hierarchy that were just like against anything Simpsons video game related at all. And then they have since gone away. So you might start seeing more things.
The math has changed, right? Because after that Fortnite Simpsons thing, which was probably one of the more popular Fortnite drops in a while, everyone's got to be looking at that being like, we are leaving a lot of money on the table. And they were probably comparing it to the old days where it's like, Simpsons games on NES and Genesis and Super Nintendo. We bought those because they were Simpsons games and we didn't know any better. And it's like, well, I love Simpsons, so let's go get the Simpsons game. And most of them were garbage. And then I think there were Simpsons games on the PS1 and PS2 that I don't know anyone that ever talks about those. So like I bet the numbers on those when they were like, hey, what can we get out of video games from like translating the Simpsons to that medium? It's like, not much. People don't seem to care, and it's because they were trash or very like low profile games. It's like, but Hit and Run, that's one where it could really take off.
And
yeah,
and to a lesser extent, Road Rage, right around the same time.
That's right. That is one that people do talk about. Yes.
Yes, and then the PS1 games are talked about. Unfortunately, they're just mentioned on worst of lists.
Right.
Like Simpsons Wrestling is famously dog shit.
It's really bad.
Simpsons Skateboarding not too far behind it. Though that one might have a little more, I think, potential. Right, like a skateboarding Tony Hawk style sort of game. Yeah, but we bought those games because it had Bart Simpson. I didn't like playing Bart's Nightmare. I like playing Bart in his nightmare. If that makes sense. That game holds a soft spot for me, although it is also objectively bad. It's one of the few games I had as Super Nintendo as a kid. I played the shit out of it. I had the music
all the time
stuck in my head. Whenever you'd get the A, it'd be like ba-da-bap. Wow, I do that all the time. I love that game. But yeah, there should have been. I don't think there's been a core Simpsons video game outside of the Fortnite that's not a remaster since the Simpsons movie game or the Simpsons game. Yeah. Am I wrong on that? Am I forgetting something?
That sounds right to me as far as I can remember. But I definitely just remember all the Simpsons games early on, Virtual Bart or whatever. Yeah, Bart's Nightmare. And then a couple of them on the PS1, PS2, Wrestling, Hit and Run, Road Rage. And then, you're right, the Simpsons, just called The Simpsons, right?
Was that game? The Simpsons game, I think it was called.
Yeah. And I don't remember anything since then. Yeah.
I remember one thing about that game. We got an achievement for 5 points for pressing start. It was called Worst Achievement Ever. Fantastic. Well done. But no, I see two things. I see a Hit and Run remaster by itself because they can sell it by itself. And then I see a classics collection in the vein of, and for some reason, I've been buying a lot of collections lately, like the Cowabunga collection for Ninja Turtles, the Ren and Stimpy collection that came out, all the Mega Man collections where all the retro games are in one spot. There's no reason why there isn't a Simpsons collection yet. That's just leaving money on the table for idiots like me who like those games as a young buck and wants to play them again.
Yeah, the Marvel Maximum collection just got announced, and that has the X-Men arcade game in there, and then a bunch of other console games. It's like just do the exact same thing with Simpsons. Like that X-Men arcade game is getting rollback netcode on there. It's like, just amazing. Add that. That is something that will kind of click people to be like, okay, this is a collection worthy of me purchasing it because I'm going to get some benefits and people will be able to play online with me pretty easily, as opposed to just emulating it or whatever, which is, of course, still going to be available to people.
As an equivalent, you could put the Simpsons arcade game on there with rollback netcode, and that pulls people in.
Yep.
It makes too much sense. Why aren't they doing this?
Why aren't we? Make it happen. All right, Star Wars Galactic Racer Physical Edition to be distributed by PLAION. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Just kind of that's good news because the game was not confirmed necessarily for physical before this. It's being made by former Criterion developers. It looks very much like Star Wars Burnout. And it's like, okay, well, are people going to be able to get it in stores? Like who's publishing it or distributing it? And it's PLAION, formerly that's part of the Embracer group, right? But this is like actually their main business was always taking games and then distributing them to retailers, mostly in Europe. So they know how to do this. So yeah, when this game launches at some point in 2026, I still don't think we have a month, let alone a specific date, but it is 2026 that the game is supposed to come out. Yeah, you'll see it in stores, and I'm glad that we are still like prioritizing that to the point where it's like a big game like this wants to make this happen. It's not just like, physical is a nice to have. And for some cases, it is a nice to have as opposed to just this is necessary to sell your video game. But for a Star Wars Galactic Racer with a big license like that, it's not a nice to have. It's kind of a requirement. So I'm glad they were able to figure this out, right?
Yeah, I imagine Disney's going to want that on shelves, but be it in any no matter how small the retail store is or how it's becoming, they're going to want that game front and center because it is such a ballyhooed game since it was announced back in December. It's interesting to me that publishing physical copies now is becoming a third-party business of its own, right? Yeah. Limited run, secret mode, stuff like that. They just released physical copies of games that have come out as digital exclusives, and they sort of incur the costs that the publishers don't want to. Which I can't imagine the ROI is great, but they seem to be sticking around. So maybe the licensing fees alone, or the fees to produce for the license, are good enough to keep them afloat.
Yeah, I think like we've definitely seen situations where there were some games released in a limited capacity on like Switch 2, where the price was higher for the physical version than for the digital version. Not so much higher that it was like, this is a collector's edition. It was more like, this is a special physical edition that you're going to get because you're getting a literal limited run. And so we're going to charge a little bit more to justify import tariffs and whatever else it contributes to the increased costs of releasing a physical game. Pokemon Go data was used to train robots to deliver stuff. This is from Amy Hart at Polygon. Yeah,
there it is. We found it. Here's the bad one.
Yeah. This is like the stuff that's like, oh, not that surprising. Of course, that data, we knew the data in Pokemon Go of people walking around was being used by Niantic to like fill out their data pool that they were going to sell to third parties. That they started their business that way. But it's like, okay, how did that ever manifest? I bet it's manifested in some more pernicious and scary ways than this. But yeah, this is like one of those ones where it's like, oh yeah, all of that data I create by playing a free-to-play game creates a lot of value for these companies, and then they get to go sell that for a lot of money. What are we going to do about that? Shouldn't we get cut into that pie a little bit? But yeah, apparently through cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, Jersey City, Miami, Helsinki, there is this Coco Robotics company that is using Niantic's expertise in spatial AI and its visual positioning system to further improve Coco Robotics' titular delivery robot, Coco. So yeah, I'm not surprised that we got here. I'm a little surprised it maybe took this long to hear a story like this, because they've been collecting that data for years, even long before Pokemon Go, and they had I'm not gonna be able to remember the name of the game they had before that, but they had another one where it's like, well, Ingress Prime. Yes, thank you. Yes, exactly. So yeah, weird. This is, of course, I never really think about how my data is going to get used until it's like too late. It's like, oh yeah, of course it's being used to do something like this, right?
Now, listen, man, here's my thing. If they're using my data, this robot better recognize me when it delivers me a pizza.
Right.
It better be like, hey, I know you. You spend a lot of time in this area and you caught the same Pokemon 65 times because you're an idiot. But no, I'm not surprised by this at all. It's like my wife works at one of the credit monitoring bureaus, and she's always telling me the people who want your data, they have it.
Yes.
They talk about the malicious use for stuff like that. They're selling your data for non-malicious uses too, just to have it, just to know what you're looking at, what they can advertise to you, where you're going to be, how you're going to get there, that sort of thing. It's not to say that you shouldn't protect yourself, but there are some things that they're just going to sell right from underneath you, whether you like it or not. And in this case, if it's a robot delivering pizzas or groceries, now, look, if a robot is delivering groceries to an elderly person who can't get to the grocery store anyway, I can sign on to that. Mm-hmm. That's fine. If it used me walking around LA, catch a Pokemon to be able to find this person's house, sure. But don't fucking lie to me about it. Just tell me that's what you're going to do. Tell me that's what you're making these robots for. Tell me that's what my data is going to. Don't just put in this field research. Tell us to take pictures and scan the surrounding areas just for the game. Come the fuck on.
Yeah. They always try to position it as like the most altruistic thing, and we know what's really happening here, of course. Games with loot boxes to get a minimum of 16 age rating across Europe. This is from Laura Kress at BBC. Games which feature loot boxes will soon be given an age rating of 16 across Europe, including the UK, under a host of changes by the European Video Game Ratings Organization. The Pan-European Game Information Body, which is what PEGI stands for, I just learned today. Basically, they're just coming at it and be like, hey, if you got loot boxes, you're a game for adults. The adults or people who have matured enough to the point where they can handle that concept because we believe it's akin to gambling. And I think this is completely fine because really the idea should be that you need a credit card to engage with these systems anyhow, right? And if you don't, you need the permission of someone who does. And credit cards, I think you have to at least be 16. I think maybe in many places you have to be 18 to get a credit card. So
right.
yeah, what's the difference at a certain point? And that's going to cause problems for selling these games at some retailers that have strict rules about like selling games to people who are under a certain age if it has a certain rating. But good. So what? I think that these games should have to have a little bit more hurdles and more friction. Although, of course, most of these games are sold digitally, and again, many of them are free that have loot boxes. So the barriers there are already very, very low, and retailers wouldn't even factor into that. But yeah, what does this make you think? How do you feel about this?
Anything that makes it more difficult for my children to spend my money without me knowing works for me. That's basically it. That's how I think about it. They're like, I like how the Amazon Fire tablets, if they want to download games that have any in-app activity at all that could be financial, I have to approve it via email first. Like they email me and I go into my account. Stuff like that. That makes sense to me. That this is the kind of logical child protecting services, not to use CPS, but that these games need. Those are the kind of protections that these kids need because they don't know what they're clicking. And the games are made to be that way so that they don't know what they're clicking and they take their money from you. How many stories have we heard of 350 FIFA here, $200 in Roblox
the
there,
dark
right?
patterns where it's like they clearly are designing it so these accidental button presses will just lead to money being spent. We know what they're doing.
And not only that, when they press the button, they get all the fancy animations. Whoa, what's coming out of the box? What's in the box? So I don't know. I like this, and I wish more regions than just the EU and PEGI would adopt it.
Last story here. Giant Bomb is going to PAX East. If you still need tickets and you are a premium member, we have a code for 15% off. If you head to the behind the scenes channel on the GB Discord, everybody. So get into the Discord. You can get into that if you're a member, and we have the behind the scenes channel. You click on that, and we post some fun pictures there every once in a while. But right now, we have details about how you can get 15% off of your badges for PAX East. Jan, do we have an exact schedule yet? Because I know things were still in flux. We've been trying to help PAX out by like saying we're pretty flexible. They have a schedule that they are trying to accommodate for a lot of other people that are a little bit less flexible than we are. So we've said, hey, we can
almost
flexible. We can float.
Oh my God.
We could go where they need us. So we're still nailing things down, but I think we have some stuff happening on Friday and Saturday. So if you want to try to like book your schedule around us, we appreciate that. We'll have more info very, very soon. All right. Again, that's the Giant Bomb Discord, everybody. The behind the scenes channel, 15% off. That does it for the headlines. There was no poll question from last week because we did the Bomb 12 instead. There is a new Bomb 12 link up on the website, though. If you want to contribute what you've been playing so you can help shape what the Bomb 12 looks like when we wrap up this week, you could do so. Just go to giantbomb.com, scroll down. You'll see last week's Bomb 12. You'll see a link there on the side where it says vote here. Takes you to a form. Submit your game. We'll get all of that going here at the end of the week. In the meantime, we got to figure out what's going on Giant Bomb. We're going to have a meeting to do so, but, normal stuff. I think we should be able to do the new season of a Blight Club. Dan's gonna be out on assignment soon afterward, but I think on Wednesday we should be able to pull it off. And you're not going to want to miss it because Mike has pulled the ripcord, everybody. He's done it. He's pulled the ripcord.
Really?
Yep.
No.
We sent Dan a game and a costume, and then since then Mike has pulled the ripcord, so I sent Dan a different game and a different costume. So yeah, he's got a lot waiting for him here pretty soon. It's gonna you're just not gonna want to miss it. It's gonna be pretty good. No. And then yes, we have Minotti Party featuring Lego tonight, everybody. So that's fun. That's going to be a lot. I'm really looking forward to it. They were like, hey, we have this new stuff for you to check out, but it's got to be couch co-op. I'm like, all right, I'll get over to Mike's and we'll make it happen. So it's going to be a fun week over here on Giant Bomb. Go to giantbomb.com and you can keep up with everything that's happening over there. Jason Fanelli, before we really wrap things up, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all of that good stuff?
JasonFanelli.com on Blue Sky, Big Man Fanelli on Instagram are my main social media presences. Currently in the midst of reviewing MLB The Show 26 for the good folks at Kotaku. It's baseball. so far. Just playing baseball. It's already broken the immersion of realism by allowing Phillies catcher JT Realmuto to hit a walk-off home run to win a game. That's just not going to happen in real life. Sorry, everyone. Other than that, enjoying my time with that so far, and prepping for 4 days in Boston myself. I'll be up there Thursday till Sunday at PAX East. Got some appointments scheduled. Got some things I want to do. If I don't talk to you between now and then, a good friend of mine named Carl Germ here on Twitch is a speed runner. He will be speed running Dark Souls on the GDQ stage at PAX East from 2 to 3 on Friday. I'm going to try my best to have my butt in a seat to watch him and support my boy. And if you're around and you have nothing to do in that time frame, you should too. He's a great streamer and a great friend. And yeah, so that's it. That's what's on the timeline for me.
Well, then we should get out of here. Jason, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, friend. Till next time.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.